Good evening. Welcome to the September 8th, 2025 meeting of the Stillwater City Council. At this time, I will call the meeting to order. For those of you who aren't here every other week, this is a full house for a City Council meeting, so we're glad you're here. I know we've got some folks from Leadership Stillwater and an OSU media class, and we also have some folks from the junior high I want to invite up to help us with the Pledge of Allegiance. We have the 9th grade Advanced U.S. History, Advanced U.S. Government class, correct? I know Sarah and Landon, you guys were going to come up, but anybody who wants to come up and help us with the Pledge of Allegiance, please come on. Really appreciate both these students and their teachers who encourage them to come learn a little bit about advanced U.S. government here at the City Council meeting. So right here at the microphone, and we'll all stand, and you can lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
All right, who's going to start? To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well done. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Did we all get pictures? They're supposed to get a picture with an elected official or a local public official, something like that. So I think we got them all today. Thanks for being here. All right, that takes us to item 3 on the agenda, the consent docket. Councilors, questions, comments, or action on the consent docket?
I move approval of consent.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve consent. Please vote. With a vote of 4-0, the consent docket is approved. That will take us down to public hearings. Item 6A, receive public comment regarding a request for a map amendment to rezone property addressed as 320 South Walnut from small lot single family to 2-family residential, CC-25-129. Do we have good notice on this item?
Yes, we do.
Henry.
Yes, sir. Mayor, councilors. Tonight we're looking at a map amendment to rezone 320 South Walnut Street from RSS, small lot single family residential, to RT, 2-family residential. Here's the aerial view of this property outlined in pink. As you can see, this property is just west of Walnut, one lot north of 4th Street. Here's the street view of this property. This is from Walnut looking west with the existing single family house on the property. Here's the zoning map where you can see the existing zoning on this property, which is RSS, or small lot single family residential. To the north and south and west of this property, you have the same RSS small lot single family residential. It looks a little different to the west of this property. That's because it's included in the Westwood overlay. So this property is just outside of that overlay district. As you can see on the east side of Walnut, there is RMI, or multifamily intermediate, and on the southeast corner of 4th and Walnut, there is RTM, or 2-family multifamily. Here's the future land use map, where you can see this property once again outlined in pink. Is in the future land use map calls for low density at this location. Here's a snippet from the comprehensive plan that explains how low density is primarily single family detached houses, but low density in the comprehensive plan does also refer to duplexes and small density multifamily, which is a maximum of 20 units per acre. If this rezoning were to be approved to RT has a maximum of 11 units per acre. So this rezoning is supported by the comprehensive plan. Past action on July 21st, 2025, the applicant requested to table this item and the specific use permit for this property until today's City Council meeting of September 8th, 2025. I'm now open to answer any questions if you have any. The applicant is also here.
Councilors, any questions? Henry, can you go back to the surrounding map?
Yes, sir.
Maybe the zoning one. That one. The RSS PUD just to the south of there. Can you remind me what that is? That's a parking lot, right? Anybody know? That's one of those.
I don't know what that development is.
Greek houses put a parking lot right there. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. With no other questions, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Do we have a representative from the applicant that wants to speak?
Hello, Aaron Ferguson with Bancroft Design, located at 923 South Lowry. So this has gone through a few iterations on this one, and we've been working with city staff for the past couple of months to hopefully find the best solution for what the developer wants to accomplish. So obviously on the agenda, there's an SUP following this that's related to the same property. And the initial proposal was for RMI, but because of the proximity to the Westwood overlay and due to some RMI restrictions, it was decided that RT was probably a better alternative to transition from RMI across the street over to the Westwood overlay. And as Henry said, we're still meeting density requirements, and we've worked with the city to come up with a revised site plan to meet all the city's parking requirements for the townhomes that are proposed.
All right.
Any questions? And the developer is also here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilors, any questions? I have one other person signed up to speak for this item, William Stockel. You could introduce yourself with your name and address, and you'll have 5 minutes to speak.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. William Stockel, 321 South Orchard. My backyard is adjacent to the property that we're talking about, the lot. As the gentleman before me kind of mentioned, there was a couple iterations last year. Really, the RMI, I think it got denied because it didn't meet the minimum square footage required in order to rezone to RMI. I believe that square footage is 15,000 square feet. I think this lot comes in just a little bit over 13,000. So at the time, I believe that was the main reason why the Planning Commission denied it. So a year later, now we're here, and they're looking to get RT. Really, if you look at the surrounding areas, there's really no RT zoning within that area. I mean, there's one off of 6th Street. So bottom line is I feel like it's out of place. You know, if you look at what a townhome is allowed on without a specific use permit, it's RMI or RTM, which both of those require either a 15,000 square foot lot or a 20,000 square foot lot. And again, this is about 13,000 square foot. So I feel like we're really kind of putting a square peg in a round hole here. And besides that, all the adjacent properties are RSS. Now, there is a natural transition on Walnut. On the west side of Walnut is the RSS, and then if you go east of Walnut, there's the RTI, you know, there's some townhomes, apartment complexes. So I feel like that Walnut Street provides a nice natural barrier transition. If you start putting townhomes in around RSS, I feel you're kind of breaking it up, you're breaking up the neighborhood. I just feel like it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. Also, I don't know if you would, and so I'm not really opposed to RT because you can put a 2-family duplex in there, no problem. But more so the specific use permit, which is kind of the next agenda item, but it kind of goes hand in hand. So, so again, excuse me while I just look at my talking points here. Yeah, so like I said, if for some reason you guys do feel this is in the best interest of the city, I would ask a few considerations. First, my first wish would be to move the parking lot from out of the backyard, you know, I guess the west side of this lot, which basically bumps up to my backyard. You know, if they can put all the parking up into the front, I think that would help me out a lot. No one really buys a lot in a neighborhood expecting it to be rezoned to a townhome. I mean, I can understand if it was an undeveloped lot, but you know, you look at your surroundings when you buy a house, and it's all single-family homes, and so I feel this is a very aggressive rezoning for this particular lot. Again, if we can move the parking lot, if you do approve it, which I hope you don't, but if you do, can we move the parking lot? Second, if we can't move the parking lot, can we at least put I think the Planning Commission recommended a 6-foot fence. I'd recommend maybe an 8-foot opaque, not translucent fence to kind of block the headlights, basically a solid fence to kind of shield, you know, my bedroom window from parking, from headlights from the cars. So, and then also I noticed in the newest plan, there's two there's two parking lot lights. I'm not sure how high they go up, but if somehow they can make that very directional and away from my backyard, that would be appreciated too. But again, my overall comment is that I feel like this really doesn't fit in to the surrounding zonings. There's an existing house on the property right now. There's nothing wrong with that. And I just feel like, I was gonna say, like, if we approve this, does that set the precedent for, a couple lots up the street? And now all of a sudden you're going from, RSS to a bunch of townhomes that, again, I feel don't really fit in with the streets, with Walnut being a good transition between the existing RTM, RTI. So that's all I have. If you guys have any questions for me.
Questions? Thank you,
All right,
sir.
thank you.
I don't have anyone else signed up to speak at this public hearing. Was there anyone here planning to speak?
Jamie stuck his hand up.
Would you like to?
May I?
You're absolutely welcome to.
I didn't sign up.
As the project developer, correct?
And my name is James Murray, and we've owned this lot for many years. We've really worked diligently with city staff, and we've been a 2-year project trying to get something to work here. We think we've addressed all the issues of the planning staff. They've been great to work with, and all we really ask is that we be treated like every other developer here in the last several years. I understand now they're trying to change some things. I know that just south of this area, on the west side of the road, the Presley, Sokolowski's executive homes, they built many of these 3-4-story types of homes, and this is on the same Walnut. So we think this is consistent with what's been going on in that general area for some time, just not something we're asking for now. We think it's a natural transition to the university, where we have fraternities right there close by. We own other property right by there. We think it's going to be a nice addition to an older neighborhood, and we definitely can sympathize with the backyard issue. We'll do all we can to preserve that. We completely understand that we don't want to cause undue, issues with anyone, and so we've had a history of doing the right thing, even though when the right thing doesn't happen to us. So we look forward to doing this, and we hope the council will approve all the work we've done with the staff. I want to thank Mr. Barth and Henry, I can't say his last name, for all their work in helping us do this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Were you planning to speak at this? Okay. Yeah, we'll just have you fill out one of the papers when you're done. If you could just introduce yourself with your name and your address, please.
Stephanie Coca, 222 South King Street. I live in the Westwood Overlay Edition, and I'd like to support my neighbor. Knowing where that house is, my concern is the traffic. It's horrible already there on Walnut, right by the sorority house and the parking lot. So that's one of my main concerns. And another, like my neighbor, is having something that's more like apartments, townhome, would open the door to more of those. That side, the north side of, I think it's 4th or 5th and Walnut, is mainly homes where there's a park also. And so it would be, I think it would be horrible for the rest of the neighbors that back up to that street, as well as the neighbor that spoke today, to be able to possibly open the door to having more of those on that same street. So I would kindly ask that you not approve this. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Yeah.
One more.
If you could come fill out just introduce yourself with your name and address, and then please fill out a form.
Hi. Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yeah, you can pull that down.
Sorry, I'm short. Mariel Zacordia, 420 South Walnut. I live right next to the Presley homes. It's been a real inconvenience having them there. There's, I think, about 7 cars per the house, and I think there's about 6 houses. With how they're built too, every time they just have a little piece of trash because it's all concrete. It rolls into my yard. I think it's a big disruption to the city. It was a cute little neighborhood that then all of a sudden these giant townhomes started coming in, so agreeing with the neighbors. I think once you set the precedent of starting to continue to take down those homes, then that whole street is just going to be taken down. Somebody tried to buy my home, and I didn't want it to change. I didn't want the neighborhood to change, so I know that's just my personal opinion, but with being right next to one, I can't imagine that being what one of my neighbors said, being right behind one or right next to it, because it's pretty terrible. So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Just so we got off a little bit off track there. We have two different issues tonight. This first public hearing was really about the rezoning to RT, two-family. We do have the next item on the agenda is about the special use permit that would allow a specific use for this property. So, Henry, if you could remind us what the Planning Commission's recommendation was as to the rezoning itself, we can address that issue first.
Yes, sir. So for the map amendment on July 8th, 2025, with a 4-0 vote, Planning Commission recommended that the City Council approve the map amendment as presented.
Thank you. Councilors, as to the map amendment question, questions, comments, action on the item? Don't everybody speak at once. I'll start. We've had a couple of these in the last couple of weeks. They're difficult. It's a continuing concern in a growing college town like this that we have a continuous need for new housing and for more housing in Stillwater, for housing within the existing area. Not there's a lot of housing being built outside the city limits and on the edges of the city limits, but we really have a need for more available housing to be built inside and closer to the areas where people live and work, or people work and go to school and that sort of thing. So, there is a concern, and from my standpoint, a need to find ways to do responsible redevelopment of some of these areas like this in a way that, again, both preserves existing neighborhoods to the extent we can, and also recognizes that we need more housing in Stillwater. We just do, and it's we've got to figure out how to solve that problem. And unfortunately, in issues like this, it comes down to competing interests of people who live in the area and people who are trying to live in the area or trying to develop the area. I think this specific area has been on the City Council agenda a lot over the years. The Westwood overlay itself, and then things that kind of get up close to the Westwood overlay tend to draw quite a bit of discussion. I remember, and I asked about that parking lot just a few lots south of this, because I think I recall that discussion on council a few years ago. And it's difficult because we do have that overlay. That overlay is a very strong protection for the area just to the west of this. And one of the things we talk about a lot is the sort of transitions between zoning areas, right? And we've got a higher density use across the street, and then right now this is single family on the west edge of the street, and then everything behind it. Going to two family, slightly higher density, but not multifamily level densities, is generally a good way to sort of transition these things through. And I actually think it helps protect even better what's behind it, because you don't have just an abrupt transition from very high intensive uses to those lowest intensive uses that we kind of step down as we go back. It helps preserve that, I think, even more over time. So I would be in favor of the zoning change, at least. Now we'll talk about the specific use permit and what they're asking for this to go on this later. But in terms of just looking at this as, does two-family residential zoning make sense here? I would agree with the Planning Commission that it does.
I move that we approve the Planning Commission recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the Planning Commission's recommendation as to the map amendment. Please vote. With a vote of 4-0, that item is approved. And that takes us to item 6B, which is to receive public comment regarding a request for a specific use permit for property address as 320 South Walnut to allow townhomes in the two-family residential district, CC-25-130. Do we have good notice on this item?
Yes, we do.
Henry?
Yes, sir. So as you said, this is a specific use permit for 320 South Walnut that goes with the rezoning that we just heard. This is a specific use permit for townhomes as shown in this conceptual site plan. So for this property, they're showing 3 dwelling units. You can see unit 1, 2, and 3 shown on the western, not the left side of the screen. 3 units is the maximum you could have on this property, as RT, or residential 2-family, has a maximum density of 11 units per acre. So if you do the math, that's a maximum of 3 units on this property. For 3 units, they're proposing 3 4-bedroom units. That would require them to have 12 parking spaces. So on the western edge right here, you can see they have 9 parking spaces on the western side of the property. I'm going to remind you that the north arrow on the top is facing right. So using directions here. So on the western side, you have those 9 parking spaces shown on the property. On the eastern side, abutting Walnut Street, you have 6 parking spaces. These parking spaces are proposed to encroach into public right-of-way, so these would be public parking spaces. Since they would be public parking spaces adjacent to the site, half of those can count towards the required parking. So math means they do have the 12 parking spaces that would be required for the property. The site plan, as it's shown, does substantially meet the dimensional requirements of RT, or residential 2-family, but a more intensive review will be done when they submit for that building permit that has a more thorough site plan. Yeah, this is what they're showing. I'm open to answer any questions if you have any.
Could you explain why a specific use permit is needed in the first place?
Yes, sir. So in R2, a residential 2-family, you're allowed by right to build a single-family home or a duplex or 2-family house. And then you have some other uses, like, for example, a townhome that you're allowed to do with a specific use permit. There are still other uses, like, for example, a meat packing plant that you're not allowed to do at all. So there's kind of a tier of uses that are allowed in the different zoning districts. This is kind of in the middle of it's allowed if it's appropriate for this location, which is why it's brought to City Council to see, is this the appropriate location for a townhome?
Does the elevation or size of the proposed unit have it? Is it fit within? Does it need its own specific use permit, or is that part of the specific use permit? So
you're required to have a site plan that shows these elevations as well with the specific use permit. So it requires you to get into a little more detail than just the use. No variances are required at this time for the site plan or for the height. So, for example, maximum height in RT, or residential 2-family, is 35 foot. This elevation is showing a building that's just below that 35 foot. So at this time, we haven't found any reason why a variance would be required if they were to build what's shown on the site plan.
Mayor, sorry. If I may, I just wanted to remind you that there is broad authority in the approval of the specific use permit for council to place conditions on the specific use permit, and height limits is one thing that is specifically mentioned in the code.
Sure. But as this is drawn, if this was 2 units at 5 bedrooms each, would it need a specific use permit?
No, sir. That would be considered a 2-family or duplex, which would be allowed by right.
So really just the fact that there's a third door to this is not, the density itself, the number of bedrooms is not something that they'd need a specific use permit for?
Yes, sir. That's all correct.
Okay. Councilors, questions for staff? All right, this time I will open the public hearing. I don't know if any of the same people would like to come back up and say any of same or similar things or different things. In the interest of everybody's time, if you have something new to say, that would be great. Go ahead.
Sure. So Aaron Ferguson with Bancroft Design at 923 South Lowry. I think most of it I mentioned before. I do want to address the gentleman's concern about the parking lot in the back. Now, my company was not directly involved with the production of the current site plan. However, based on my experience, I don't foresee an issue with switching the location of the building and the parking lot, if so desired. And if we were contracted to pursue a further site plan, then that would absolutely be something that we would look at. But as of right now, I don't see an issue with swapping those if that makes it more agreeable to the city.
Okay, thank you.
So if the structure moved back closer to the fence line, and you now have a 3-story building towering over the fence, that's going to become objectionable to neighbors too, probably, right?
And
Which
since
is-
I have not looked at it, I can't say for sure that, hey, this is going to work. I believe that the, in this zoning, and Henry can correct me if I'm wrong, it requires a 20-foot setback, and I believe that additional setbacks are only required on side yard setbacks and not rear yard setbacks. So I believe that the 20-foot setback would be maintained even if it was a 3-story building.
Okay.
But they could build a 3-story building pretty much backing up to the west of the property, which would be having windows overlooking the property into this gentleman's yard, correct?
Sure, yes, and I believe that the rear yard is 20 foot. It might be a 15, but I think it's 20 foot.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Any additional comments you'd like to make?
I mean, not additional, but again, I'll just reiterate the two zoning, what do they call it? The two zonings that allow townhomes, this property does not meet the minimum square footage. So again, you're trying to put a structure that's allowed on a bigger piece of property, but not allowed on this without a special use permit. So, and then I know it's on here, but again, I'm talking about the parking light, the parking lot lighting. It's right in the backyard there. Again, kind of a nuisance. If it could be as directional as possible, if it's approved. But
Do
again,
you have a preference on the building being closer to the back fence?
yeah, I mean, if we can get rid of the car, the car noise, the light noise, the environmentals of it, and we can move that parking to the front. I mean, if you can approve that with that stipulation, I have no. I mean, he could build a brand new single-family home that's 35 feet high.
Yeah.
Without
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily the building, but it's the parking lot right up into my backyard.
Yeah.
I mean, there's other concerns like thank you for everyone else that spoke on the neighborhood's behalf, but I mean, traffic. I mean, there's a water main breaking every other day in Westwood. I mean, these are all problems
Sure.
you guys deal with every day, and I don't know how much more of a burden this puts on the utilities, but again, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jamie.
Come on.
I appreciate the opportunity I have. I've kind of followed development in Stillwater. We don't want to build a duplex with 6 bedrooms each. That's a total of 12. And we wouldn't even have to ask for a special use permit for that, but we don't think that's in the spirit of the code, to be honest with you. 6-bedroom houses next to campus, not single dwellings. I mean, those are definitely, we all know what they're for. So we chose to do the 3 townhomes because they're 4-bedroom and not 6. And we think that's a better use of the property. We think that's better for everyone. I would be a little concerned, to be honest with you, moving the property. We spent a lot of money getting to where we are, for one thing. But the other thing is, the farther back you go, there's windows that overlook the backyard. I think I'd rather have a better fence and have a little more, not have windows so close to them. So, again, we think we've complied with all the suggestions of city staff. We think the 3, we were originally going to do 5. We couldn't get the parking, so we reduced it to 4 with a nice little kind of porch-like thing overlooking to the east. So we think this is going to be really enhance the value of everybody's property in this neighborhood. Thank you.
Any further comments? All right, I will go ahead.
Just in time.
It's like an auction.
Yeah. I think, again, speaking as the neighbor to the townhomes on the other side of the street, I just want to say that, yes, I understand that we're trying to grow the city and everything, and I think what y'all did is great for having 2 single, I don't know the terminology and everything, but it seems like, again, kind of what my neighbor said, putting a square peg into a round hole. It sounds like they found a good property and they want to put more homes on it, and that's great, but they're pushing the limit. And it's already a really busy street. The amount of accidents that happen outside because the students are speeding. There's so many cars out there. It just doesn't seem safe. And like I will say I don't have the best fence. My dog gets out. That would be terrible. But it just, I see the need to grow, and I think that's amazing. I just don't know if this, personally, I don't think this is the answer.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Anything further? All right, at this point, I'll close the public hearing. Henry, can you remind us of the Planning Commission's recommendation?
Yes, sir. So on July 8th, 2025, with a 3-1 vote, Planning Commission recommended approval of the specific use permit with the condition that 6-foot opaque screening is installed on the west side of the site.
Thank you, sir. Councilors, questions, comments, action?
Explain opaque screens real quick, please.
Yes, ma'am. So that could be, for example, like a 6-foot wooden fence.
Mm-hmm.
It could be shrubs or trees that would grow to 6 foot tall. So it could be berms. There's kind of different options laid out in code for what could count for a opaque screening. That's why I think it was more vague than a 6-foot fence, is because there are landscaping options as well. But you could be as specific as you wanted. That was just what was recommended.
I would say I do have concerns, especially the idea of planting something with the idea that at some point it would grow enough that it would be a barrier. And I would lean towards requiring something more, something that divides it more and provides a little bit of a barrier immediately.
Yes, ma'am.
I was going to say, if they were to use shrubbery to do that, would it have to already be 6 feet? It can't be like you plant a 2-foot shrub and say eventually it's going to be 6, right?
A certain percent of it would have to already be the 6 foot. I don't know that off the top of my head, but it does say within 1 or 2 years it does have to meet that height.
Okay. But we can make that a fence and not just a screening, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
There is an easement in between my property and the property we're looking at, so it only grows so much before they got to cut it out.
Sure.
Because of power lines.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Okay, other questions, comments, or thoughts, council?
I would make a motion to approve the SUP with condition that it be an 8-foot solid fence on the western boundary.
I would second that.
All right.
Do you want to address directional lighting along with that? Or is
So
that
Councilor
overstep?
Clark asked if we want to address directional lighting too. I don't know how you do that one.
Well, yeah, we're going to amend the motion.
Okay, so let's add a second condition then, 8-foot solid fence on the west side, and that every effort be made to not have lighting going into the neighbor's backyard on the west side.
Second.
Any further discussion, council? All right, we have a motion and a second to approve with those two conditions. Please vote. It's approved with a vote of 4-0. Again, I appreciate the neighbors for being here to talk about these things. I understand, this is a difficult, certainly this neighborhood is just going to continue to see this kind of pressure around housing. Just to make a comment as to whether this is best place or other places are best place. I mean, one of the things, and the comment that was made about the additional burden on utilities, the other option for stuff like this happening within our core already parts of the city now is that we build more student housing apartments out on the edge of town, like the Links or like the other places that you see out north or south or that sort of thing. That's what we've seen happen. That is also a huge burden on infrastructure as it continues to expand. And so some things like this help, from my standpoint, help us use infrastructure that's already in place to try to keep us from having to go build new roads and new lines and new stuff out on the edge of town to serve that. And so it's a catch-22 for sure, but I appreciate you all being here and having these conversations with us, and happy to talk to you more about those issues at any point. So thank you. All right. That takes us to item 7, general orders. 7A, Lake McMurtry Friends Annual Presentation. Jeremy Fansler.
I'm Jeremy Fansler. I'm the new interim supposed to have a icon on here and I don't see it.
The missing icon.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mic is nice and close.
Can you hear me better?
Yes.
My name's Jeremy Fansler. I'm the interim director at Lake McMurtry. I've been there for 3 months. And this slideshow is going to look fairly familiar, as I used a lot of slides from previous years. Our mission, you may be familiar with, is to offer a gateway to nature through sustainable outdoor activities and environmental learning. We're committed to conserving and showcasing the lake's natural beauty and cultural heritage, ensuring accessibility and enjoyment for all, and inspiring responsible stewardship of our shared natural world that serves both our community and future generations. Lake McMurtry in the last year, 14 through 15, had 514 annual passes. We had 30,000 day visitors, 14,418 RV and tent campers, with a total of 44,418 visiting the park. Of that number, there were 40 states represented and 163 communities. The most common states represented were Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas, Arkansas, and Colorado. And the most common communities represented were Stillwater, Edmond, Guthrie, Oklahoma City, Enid, Perry, Tulsa, Perkins, Glencoe, and Yukon.
I'm going to ask you a quick question here. Back up one slide, if you can. You said you had 14,000 RV and tent campers. Is that 14,000 individual people, or is that 14,000 days?
14,000 individual.
Wow, okay.
And as I went through these slides from last year, I noticed these numbers looking much higher than single use, and I realized that they were using an average of 3 people per pass.
Okay, with you. Thank you.
Here we have our revenue for the 24-25 year. You can see that we have continued to go up over the past 12 years. However, this end number here, I misconstrued. It is actually $300,000, not $335,000. So it was off just a little. My apologies. For programs being offered at Lake McMurtry, we have a beginner's backpacking clinic, basic kayaking. We have an adventure camp that runs 6 weeks through the summer. We have a program called Ride to Thrive that is working with the middle school here in Tulsa, chosen from students within that school that will participate in the program throughout the school year. So they ride every Thursday during the fall and every other Thursday during the spring.
The middle school here in Stillwater, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Did I say Stillwater?
You said Tulsa.
My bad. I am in Stillwater.
You are.
Happy to be here. The Orange Dirt Trail Series is a run that is held on our 37 miles of trails. And then we have the Lights on the Lake, which I understand is a very popular one for the community. We'll be doing that again this year. And questions?
Councilors, any questions? So recent change of leadership there with in your role?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, so I interviewed for a assistant director position 3 months ago and wound up being an interim executive.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Or condolences. Tell us your background.
For the last 14 years, I've been creating and running outdoor adventure camps, mostly on Caw Lake, but also around Keystone.
Nice.
Okay, cool, thanks.
That's great. Well, yeah, we love Lake McMurtry, great asset for the city of Stillwater, and over the last several years, it has been very well managed, and they've done a great job with improving the lake and bringing in more visitors and that sort of thing. So we're excited to see what you can do and continue to make it thrive.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
And always great, any of the activities that get kids involved in outdoors and being active, I think are always great programs.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Item 7B, consider approval of a contract with Found Design LLC doing business as MERJE. Merge? Merge. That's not how you spell merge. In the amount of $31,285 for professional design and planning for branding. Don Dodson.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We are excited to share about an impactful project that we are beginning. It's an opportunity to leverage the expertise of a national firm to integrate citywide branding into the wayfinding project that we are partnering with Visit Stillwater on. Stillwater's branding has shifted several times over the past 2 decades, leaving us with multiple inconsistent identities across the community. As you can see, we have created a special collection of branding and signage from throughout the city. Establishing a cohesive brand will strengthen recognition, unify messaging, and better represent Stillwater to residents, businesses, and visitors. A strong community brand is essential to highlight Stillwater's identity, attract visitors, and support local businesses. Since Merge is already working with Visit Stillwater, the city and community stakeholders on wayfinding, expanding the scope to include branding allows the city to leverage their expertise for a cohesive, efficient approach that strengthens both initiatives. Wayfinding has been a long discussed need for many years. Thanks to Visit Stillwater for leading the way on this. We greatly appreciate Christy Morrison's organization and hard work that she's put in with this as well. As we have been working alongside them on the wayfinding project, we realized the perfect opportunity to address branding is now. Working with the same company, Merge, on both projects while gathering important feedback from stakeholders and the community throughout this year-long process is a win for all of us. And what better time than now? Stillwater has incredible momentum with new businesses and industries, community parks and growing event spaces, and renewed energy in our local economy. These projects will help us create a stronger, more connected identity that welcomes visitors, supports businesses, and showcases our community. Branding will align with wayfinding. Think about our park signage, community entry signs, and directional signage across town. Cohesive design will strengthen our overall image. I believe City Manager Moore has another example that he may share as well. Ultimately, this is a win-win. Together, these projects will highlight our community while providing clear guidance to cultural, medical, athletic, commercial, and university destinations, enhancing experiences, supporting economic growth, and improving overall quality of life. Moving forward, both projects will take approximately a year. We'll have multiple opportunities to collect community input, ideas, and opinions throughout the process. And Merge will be in Stillwater October 7th through 9th to tour key spaces, meet with businesses, and engage with the wayfinding and branding committees and other stakeholders. We have a recommendation, but I'll pause now for any questions.
Councilors, questions?
So part of the reason that we have all these branding styles all over town is that we've gone through these branding exercises and developed brands and then not fully implemented it across everything, right? So
Because it costs a lot of money.
It costs a lot of money, right? And so if we don't go out and rebrand my garbage cart, we failed.
Correct.
Or is that true or is that not true?
Yeah, I would say it's true, and that's why you can go around town and you can see several water towers with different brands.
Right.
So this would be and we've already worked with Merge on this, on how we could do this. It would be fully implemented, and it would be in a phased process. So that is part of the agreement.
Well, part of what the agreement would be. This $31,000 we're talking about tonight is not going to pay for
No,
all
no,
that
no, no,
rebranding.
no.
Yeah.
But helping us to get the phased plan is part of that.
Yeah, I mean, I share the concern that, this is an old brand.
We just hung
And
that up
it's-
there for an example for you this evening.
It's been there for a long time
Been there a
because
very
buying
long
a new
time.
one of these is pretty expensive, right?
That's
And so yeah, I mean, it's a question of how do we, I fully, I do think that there is a tremendous value in making sure that people recognize a consistent level of quality. And, when you have, I mean, literally in that slideshow, like 8 different ways we've described the city or branded the city. But I'm excited to work with somebody who will help us figure out how can we actually make this
Yes.
happen, because I don't want to adopt a brand identity and then do what we've done the last couple times, which is brand a third of the stuff, and then now we'll have
Right.
9 different brands.
Exactly.
and stuff.
And the underlying
Exactly
concern is
right.
there's going to be it's going to cost a tremendous amount of money to implement this brand on all the water towers and all the trash carts and every place else we have branding. It's going to be a huge expense, and how are we going to pay for that?
Do we have a sense of how much that would be?
We haven't gotten into those conversations yet, but we won't know until we are able to proceed with this company to build this out and then look at that phase.
Yeah, they give us a priority approach, a phased approach, working with Visit Stillwater, leading the wayfinding, which is the major component of our project with Merge over the next calendar year. They have given us estimates on the different wayfinding packages that you implement and kind of the order that you implement. And so funds have been identified through the visitor tax, and that's why Visit Stillwater is leading that way on getting this wayfinding implemented. With Block 34, our core commercial districts, with all the growth that they've experienced, and when the note that she referenced, that Dawn referenced, was, I share this in some community meetings, but say you're coming from Wichita and you have a delivery in Yale, and this is my first time through Stillwater. I'm driving through on 51. This is supposed to be a really big college town. I've heard of OSU there. If you drive from I-35 to Yale for that delivery and come back, there's only one sign that says, it's a really small sign that says Oklahoma State University. It's up near a traffic light on Monroe. So it's really an opportunity that we wanted to bring.
Yep.
And hats off to Christy Morrison and the team at Visit, bringing the branding team from OSU. They're involved in this project, and they want to also be involved in helping us make sure that we properly first do those big gateways correctly and then the big attractions like Block 34, our core commercial districts, the university, making sure the public library, those big items in your community are well identified. Now, as far as the branding, using Merge's expertise and saying, let them study our community, identify what a new kind of modern brand that matches, the momentum we have right now with Block 34, kind of the more modern architecture with these new structures coming in town and like the red dirt music, all those things, what our community currently is at in 2025, and saying this is a brand that well identifies you. And then to answer how do we implement it, yes, trash carts take time, but every year we're buying new trash carts.
Yep.
So we can put that brand on new trash carts. Right now, our water utilities and engineering are working. They have 2 towers that need to be repainted. We're waiting to get that kind of new brand. So it's phasing those things and making sure we're making right decisions. One of the priorities that we've identified is our parks. Our parks need, as we're trying to improve our parks,
Absolutely.
we need a better, consistent theme to our signage on our parks and wayfinding to them. So
And the park signage, much like what City Manager Moore is saying, that's all part of wayfinding. And so that's also ties in the branding piece. So would we address the branding now at the same time, or would we do the wayfinding and then later say, hey, we really should have touched on branding with that?
Yeah, no, it definitely makes sense to put these things together and to do it at the same time. I think from my standpoint, I'm going to want to see
Yes.
a good, solid implementation plan, funding identified, so we're not coming back, 2 years later and going, well, yeah, we were going to replace all
Right.
that stuff and put the new
Yeah.
brand on it, but we don't want to spend that money now, and so we got to use it somewhere else, and so because that's what we have, right?
Yeah.
That's the problem we have
You're
right
right.
now. So
Well, we would get through that process with the company and get that timeline and that phased approach, and then be able to share that as well.
I do also think it's important. I think this is an important initiative anyway, but I also think it's important to not get stuck with, well, are we ever going to be able to implement it? We're not even going to try. I think we need to go forward and try and get a plan in place and then see what happens and see what it takes to implement it. But if you don't take that first step, you can't take those subsequent steps.
True.
So,
Yeah.
True.
But we're going to have to be committed to the implementation plan once we get there, or it's never going to happen.
right.
Yeah.
And that's the point of my questions
Yeah,
all along.
Absolutely.
So,
So what's your recommendation for us, Don?
Staff recommendation is to approve a contract with Found Design LLC doing business as Merge in the amount of $31,285 for professional design and planning for branding.
Counselors?
I move to approve staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Please vote. It's
Thank
approved with a
you.
vote of 4-0. Thank you, Don. Item 8 is resolutions. Resolution CC-2025-23, a resolution adopting the 2025 City of Stillwater Hazard Mitigation Plan.
State and federal law requires that the city review and update its hazard mitigation plan no less than every 5 years. The purpose of a hazard mitigation plan is for a city to identify natural hazards that may impact them, identify actions and activities to reduce any losses, and to establish a coordinated process to implement the plan, taking advantage of a wide range of resources. City staff worked with its professional consulting team and community partners to review the plan. Opportunities for public comment and community engagement were held. The plan has been submitted to the State Hazard Mitigation Officer and the FEMA Regional Office for review and approval. Approval of this resolution would adopt the 2025 City of Stillwater Hazard Mitigation Plan as approved by the state and FEMA as its local hazard mitigation plan, and it also provides for the plan to be posted on the City of Stillwater website and to be made available in the office of the city clerk. If you have any questions, Emergency Management Director Rob Hill is here.
Counselors, any questions?
I'd love to hear him summarize a 270-page plan for us.
I would, since you're here, Rob, give us maybe what we'd say the 2 or 3 biggest things that have been updated or changed. Or, we had a massive emergency mitigation event earlier this year, right? So how has the plan evolved in this iteration?
So as you can imagine, every time when we do the review of our plan, whatever the latest and greatest disaster was, natural disaster, right? Not man-made, but natural disaster, that always boils to the top. And so that was number 1 on our list, right? So, and then we work backwards from there. But the plan, I got to be honest about it, the plan really hasn't changed. What changes is the action items that we implement moving forward. So staff sits down together with our partners, and we decide what action items do we need to implement that will best mitigate these natural disasters, or what things can we implement. For example, codes could be written differently, or strengthened, or become more strict, right? So we look at all these aspects, and then we decide what works best for the community, and then the city as well. And then in addition, obviously, the hazard mitigation plan plays a big part in all of our federal funding for all of our projects that we have, because 90% of the grant dollars that we go after, the first thing they ask for is a copy of our hazard mitigation plan. In addition to the hazard mitigation plan, we will have an interactive web-based hosted solution through ArcGIS, so that you can actually click on your residence, your home, and you can see what impacts have impacted that location since data has been collected. And it also, for example, when Google came in, Google met with us and talked to us very extensively about what our natural disasters were. And for example, one of the things that they were concerned with was expansive soils, heavy clay, In the summertime, clay dries, it recedes away from a foundation. In the wintertime, it tends to swell and puts pressure on the foundation. So we met with all their staff, talked about their building and how they would build and how they would mitigate those measures while they were constructing the facility. So not only does the city of Stillwater have a vested interest in the plan, but the community as a whole, and then our partners that move in here and do business with us.
Questions for Rob?
I do. So I did not read all 288 pages, but I did notice there's a lot of discussion there about dams and the possibility of dams and flooding from that, and follow up with notification in the event of a dam failure. Do we have any plans to improve our notification system for those high-risk dams that we have scattered around town?
So a lot of the dams don't belong to us specifically. So the best that we can do is be aware that the dams are there. We know their age. They get inspected twice yearly, so we know if there's an issue. If there is an issue with a dam that has come outside of the purview of the inspections, we get made aware of that so that we can start notifying people downstream, but also our core partners as well. So we do have plans in place that work with that. But also, OSU, Lake Carl Blackwell is in there. Lake McMurtry's in there as well. So those are our two biggest water sources upstream of town. So we do take all those into consideration, but for the most part, most of those aren't ours, and we don't have any say over how they're treated, how they're repaired, what they may need.
I was surprised at the number of dams that were in here. I just thought about
Now, a lot of them,
and Mercury, but there's a dozen or more dams that are mentioned in the report.
Yeah, so Counselor, a lot of those are designed in a way so that they take in lots of water with slow release. And so a lot of the times those things sit at below pool, so they're not a threat, and the dam itself is not being impacted. So a lot of them are in very good shape. So there's not a lot of concern for us from the dam side of things.
Okay.
But yes, we do have notification plans in place should we know that there's an event.
I was just thinking about Blackwell or McMurtry, the one, if one of them were to overtop and then fail, there's not a lot of time to notify anybody.
There's not about 45 minutes.
It's going downstream fast. Okay.
Yeah, about 45 minutes.
So is that so the other question I've got for you is, what's your big concern? What's the biggest risk we have in this plan? What do you lose sleep over?
The fact that most grants that would allow us to do the most good are so expensive that we can't afford them. We can't meet the 25% match, or we can't fund them up front because it's so expensive. So we have lots of mitigation measures that we have in the plan that we could do, but a lot of times to apply for the grant, you're talking 20, 30, 40 million dollars. We simply can't come up with that kind of money to mitigate those issues. And there's, a lot of times they're 50-50 grants, they're 75-25 grants, and it takes a while to recover. And we have a lot more infrastructure needs a lot of times than we do emergency needs.
One more question.
Mm-hmm.
Based on the fires we had back in March, what do we learn from that, and what do we learn from that to improve on?
So we're still learning. It's kind of hard to come up with. There's so many variables, let me put it that way, because we kind of had the perfect storm of a firestorm. And we're working with conservation right now to go to property owners so that they can create fire breaks, create right-of-ways, defensible areas for fire department, right? So the biggest thing is for us in that instance is that is a service that is being provided that's free to the homeowner. And we just need the homeowners and the property owners to take up and participate in those programs, as well as the city. So the city and OSU and we're providing addresses and locations for them to go in and cut these fire breaks. But a lot of people don't want somebody on their property. They don't want them cutting the trees down. They don't want them to cut the right-of-ways. They don't want them to open things up so that we can navigate the property safely in those types of events, and that's something that we're having to work through and deal with. But
Okay, one more quick follow-up on that
Mhm.
topic. Are there laws that would allow us to go ahead and do that anyway over the landowner's objections? Or to force them
Yes.
to do it?
Mayor,
Yes.
Mayor, I just want to make sure we're staying on topic
I'm sorry, okay.
regarding the proposed
Yeah.
2025 hazard mitigation
Yeah.
plan.
Okay.
Thanks.
Leave your,
so, out of respect for his question, yes. But we would like to stay away from that if possible.
I'm sure we'll come back and we can have you just come talk to us about wildfires for another meeting, just for fun, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Any further questions about the hazard mitigation plan, councilors? All right, is there action on the resolution?
Motion to adopt resolution number CC-2025-23.
second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution. Please vote. The vote of 4-0, that resolution is adopted. Thanks to Rob and to the whole team. There were a whole list of folks there in that report that you can see, the folks who helped contribute to the planning and provided input and all that sort of thing. So thank you to everybody who has participated in that update to our hazard mitigation plan. 8B, Resolution CC-2025-24, a resolution adopting a revised rate schedule for solid waste collection services, providing for subsequent rate increases and providing effective dates.
So you will also see this resolution on the SUA agenda. It's the same resolution. Matt Faulkner, Waste Management Director, is going to provide a presentation to explain the changes. These resolutions are to adopt a revised rate structure for solid waste collection and providing for subsequent rate increases. Also, just a note on what was included in the agenda packet, you will see 2 rate schedules attached to the resolution. One of those shows the changes via underline and strike through just to highlight what has changed, and the other one is a clean version for adoption.
Good evening, Mayor and Councilors. Let me get this, you can hear me. Sorry. All right, tonight I'd like to provide an overview of the proposed resolution. Throughout the overview, we will cover NewGen Strategy's final report and their operational assessment, solid waste cost of service and rate design, and finish with staff recommendations. We also have Dave Yonke here with NewGen Strategies in case we have any questions. NewGen Strategies and Solutions presented an executive summary of their final report on June 16th, 2025. The report included an operational assessment, analysis of forecasted cost of service providing solid waste services, and recommendations for recovering those costs over the next 5 years. A copy of the full final report has been attached to the agenda, but I didn't figure we wanted to go through that. During the operational assessment, waste management services were broken down into 4 customer classifications: residential, commercial, roll-off, and street sweeper. NewGen determined that waste management is operating efficiently in terms of current services providing. However, introducing new services like from front-load commercial collection would make us more efficient. So that's something we're going to implementing in the future. All right, on to the cost of service. So several city departments, including fleet, finance, utilities, and billing, and waste management, provided data to NewGen. This data was used to determine cost of service and rate design. You can see here in this graph, they have a list of their methodology, developing a test year, development of revenue requirement forecast, allocation of cost of service categories, allocation of customer classes, all the way through until you get to the rate design. The graphic on this slide also kind of gives another detailed breakdown of that. Based on their findings, this graph shows a 5-year forecast of revenue compared to revenue requirements for each customer classification. The orange line on this graph represents the under-recovered amounts for our department. You can also see a chart at the bottom of this graph. It shows a the combination of waste management balances. The fund balance line is used to purchase, that line is used for purchase of equipment such as street sweepers, grapples, things that aren't included in our normal residential, commercial, and roll-off buyback programs. So these are kind of one-off items, street sweepers, things like that. The other line is the minimum waste management reserve fund that's carried over from year to year. Some of the current challenges we're seeing in the waste management industry and some of the reason for this cost. Equipment, supply chain inconsistency are still a problem. Price of steel is making it even harder. Staffing, we have all CDL drivers in our department. We're constantly competing with construction, concrete, transportation, and even other solid waste providers. And as an industry, that's a standard. And then inflation, fuel and steel price volatility are an issue, but even small items like equipment costs and PPE for our employees have seen increases. Kind of here by the metrics for the city of Stillwater, we annually see a 4.2 to 5.7 increase in CPI and PPI. An example of those cost increases would be our solid waste disposal and our recycling processing. We also see equipment prices, purchases increase annually. You can see here we have our residential automated side loaders see an annual 16% increase. Our rear load commercial collection trucks, 7%, roll off at 11%. And even though we don't buy street sweepers very frequently, we do keep an eye on the prices, and we see about an 8% increase on those annually. So with all that together, NewGen has recommended a rate adjustment. The rate adjustment includes a percentage increase to existing rates and a change to the commercial and roll-off rate mechanism to charge differently than current rates. This graph represents a percentage increase in residential shaded in dark green, commercial shaded in light green, and roll-off shaded in gray. You'll notice there's no street sweeper there. There is no street sweeper increase recommended. You may also notice that the 2026 rate for roll-off is quite a bit higher. That is because of the change of the rate mechanism. We do not charge for disposal currently. The new rate mechanism would have a disposal fee in there. This graph shows Waste Management's budget over the next 5 years if the proposed resolution was approved. If the rates were approved, or NewGen's rates were approved, you would see the orange line going back into the positive and being above negative in 2029. You'll also notice that the fund balance on the chart below remains in the positive. That's assuming that we don't purchase anything outside of already planned purchases. The following 4 slides are kind of examples of the rates for all of our customer classifications. You can see here, the first one is residential. If you kind of note this 96-gallon cart, that's our most highly provided residential service. You would see there would be a rate increase January 1, 2026, and then every year until January 1, 2023. Then we have multifamily residential, which would be apartment complex units. And then bulk waste collection, there's only one recommended increase for that in January 1 of 2026, and that's essentially because of disposal rates. This next slide is an example of commercial collection. We have our maximum and minimum frequency for 2-yard and 4-yard dumpsters listed here as an example. We also have the downtown dumpster fee, which would be a completely new service, so there's no existing number there, but you would see there would be an effective rate January 1, 2026, with increases until January 1, 2030. This would be an example of our roll-off services. You'll see there's a percentage increase for currently provided services that are in there, but at the bottom there's that disposal fee that we do not charge currently. January 1, 2026 would be the first year, and then so on until 2030. Those rates for that are our pass-through rates for disposal, so that's exactly what it costs us for disposal.
Why have we not charged a disposal rate in the past?
We in the past have tried to sum it up in the pull fee, but it's the amount of labor it's cost to do that minus pull fee is not equated this go around.
Thank you.
And then
Yeah, so there's kind of an adjustment there, right? Because the pull fee is dropping 2026, and we're kind of replacing that, what we were building in for the disposal fee, and replacing it with an actual disposal fee.
Correct.
Right,
Correct.
okay.
We had to separate it first
Yeah,
and
I see
then
that.
run with it. And finally, this is the collection center. All the fees of the collection center are just increases due to disposal. We have not changed fees of the collection center for waste disposal since the beginning of the collection center. So these were added so that we could cover the cost of disposal. We, ironically enough, all the items that we recycle and have to pay for at the collection center have not changed in price, which is great. We don't charge for standard recycling there, so paper, cardboard, plastic, tin, aluminum still remain free of charge. But these are for items that we do pay a price to dispose of. Any questions?
Councilors, any questions?
All right. Well, go ahead.
Sorry, just we talked about downtown dumpsters, and you've got the new downtown dumpster fee in here.
That's correct.
Where people downtown, you have zero as a current downtown dumpster fee, but they're paying for a dumpster. It's just in a different mechanism, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Currently, they're paying our shared dumpster fee, which is a fee that we will still have because there will be a few places outside of that corridor that will do a shared dumpster. But this would be a new fee for the 30 specific dumpsters to that corridor that those folks would pay for.
And remind me what, an average person who is in that corridor, what sort of a change they'll see in terms of overall cost.
Well, and it could vary because there's several different there. If they have a 2-yard twice a week, they'll actually see a bit of a decrease. If they're paying a shared rate, they'll see an increase. It could be up to $10.
Okay.
But they will have an enhanced version of service with more frequency.
For residential, how long has it been since we've had a rate increase?
So I believe the last rate increase we had was in 2020. Actually, it was 2021.
Okay.
And that was due to recycling.
Okay.
These increases are kind of overarching. I mean, yes, we are seeing an increase in cost for recycling, but we're seeing an increase in cost in all services.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Councilors, further questions? I assume you recommend that we adopt the resolution?
I do. Staff does recommend the adoption of proposed resolution.
Councilors?
I move adoption of ordinance CC 2025-24. Resolution. Did I say ordinance? Resolution.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2025-24. Please vote. That resolution is adopted with a vote of 4-0. All right, ordinances. Item 9. On first read, we have ordinance 3576, an ordinance to rezone property addressed as 320 South Walnut Street from small lot single family residential RSS to 2-family residential RT. This is from earlier this evening.
Motion to advance ordinance number 3576.
Second.
Nope, sorry, I'm on the wrong one.
Yeah,
No, I'm
3576.
right. Okay.
That's right.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to advance ordinance 3576 to second reading. Please vote. With a vote of 4-0, ordinance 3576 is advanced to second reading. On second reading, we have ordinance 3578, an ordinance rezoning attractive land located at 624 West 22nd Avenue from small lot single family residential and agriculture to agriculture. Councilors?
I move adoption of ordinance 3578.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the ordinance. Please vote. With a vote of 4-0, ordinance 3578 is adopted. Also on second reading, ordinance 3579, an ordinance closing a portion of a general utility easement located at 707 East Airport Road. Councilors?
Motion to adopt ordinance number 3579.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. With a vote of 4-0, ordinance 3579 is adopted. Reports from the officers and the board. Ms. Carnley?
Nothing to report.
Mr. Moore?
Yes, just a quick update on our Envision Stillwater, which is our 2045 comprehensive plan. We are in the final internal review stage, working with Freeze and Nichols, our consultants, to get the comprehensive plan, the latest draft, or the final draft, to the comprehensive plan advisory committee. this week before sharing it with stakeholders and getting their feedback in the next couple weeks. After that, we'll have opportunities to collect community input with a public meeting, most likely in late November. Then we'll plan to share with the Planning Commission and City Council for review and adoption in November. So that's the latest timeline for the comprehensive plan. It's been a lot of public input, a lot of staff time, a lot of work put into what the Stillwater plan will be for the future. And so anyway, we're looking forward to sharing that with the public soon. And the timeline for information, all that and more is at stillwaterok.gov/envision.
Thank you, sir. Councilor Hawkins.
Block 34 is quickly becoming Stillwater's go-to spot for community fun. From concerts, yoga in the park, and more, there's always something happening. Don't miss Market 34, your Saturday destination for local vendors, handmade goods, food trucks, and live music, all in one vibrant community space. Stay connected by following us on Facebook and visiting block34.org for the latest event details. And for anyone who has not been down to Block 34, you should make it a point to go. The music has been fantastic. I did not go to yoga. I don't do a lot of yoga, but I saw pictures from yoga and it was packed, and so just lots of fun things going on.
It was absolutely gorgeous on Saturday night.
Did you go to yoga?
I did not go to yoga. No, I haven't picked that one up yet. But Saturday night I went and listened to music, and it was beautiful out there. Councilor Clark.
The deadline for the Utility Box Art Contest has been extended to October 1. This year's theme, Stillwater Strong, celebrates the resilience, creativity, and spirit of our community. Enter online at stillwaterart.org. I almost said the wrong thing, stillwaterart.org, or drop off your artwork at Stillwater Community Center. Don't miss your chance to make your mark.
I love those art boxes, and looking forward to seeing some new ones. Councilor Harden.
The city's Sidewalk Connect program helps address sidewalk concerns throughout our community. As Stillwater continues to embrace walking, running, cycling, and other modes of travel, safe and connected pathways remain a priority. Residents can use Sidewalk Connect to report sidewalk repairs or request new connections. Submissions receive an automated confirmation and are reviewed by engineering and community development departments. Projects are prioritized based on public input, impact, budget, and ongoing work. To report a concern or request the sidewalk connection, go to stillwaterok.gov/sidewalk-connect. And I gotta admit, this is one of the things that I get asked about more often than anything else. What are you gonna do about the sidewalk? Fill in the blank.
Yep. Yeah, and I've actually had a couple people comment on the fact that we put $1 million in this year's pavement management plan just to dedicate towards sidewalk and sidewalk connections and that sort of thing. So that's some progress to be made. So let us know where we need sidewalks. I will let you know that if you're looking for an easier way to park on Cowboy football game days, you should check out the Park and Ride shuttle service. The City of Stillwater, OSU Athletics, and Visit Stillwater team up each season to make your experience simple and stress-free. I mean, I guess outside of the actual football part of it, stress-free. With free parking, shuttles, and a complete game day guide. Shuttles run every 30 minutes, starting 3 hours before kickoff. Pickup and drop-off is at 7th Avenue and Lewis Street, right out here. You can park down here free downtown, and your full game day guide is available at visitstillwater.org. So park with ease, enjoy downtown, and then head to the game and cheer on the Cowboys. Go Pokes. Got you that one.
Go Pokes.
I know. All right. Anything further? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn the City Council. Please vote. With a vote of 4-0, the Stillwater City Council is now adjourned. But we have 2 more meetings for those of you who are just waiting to hear more.
They should be short.
You're free to.
They should be short.
Do it. Yeah. At this time, I will call to order the Stillwater Utilities Authority meeting for September 8th, 2025. Trustees, questions, comments, or action on consent docket?
Move to approve consent.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve consent. Please vote.
And the room.
The
empties.
consent docket is approved with a vote of 4-0. All right, general orders, item 5. Lauren Smith is going to help us consider approval of the outage management system upgrade project. And Lauren, I wouldn't take it personally that everybody just got up and left.
That's fine, yeah.
Your issue is important too.
They always leave for the good stuff, I don't know. Good evening, trustees. Lauren Smith, Electric Utility Director. In 2012, the electric utility installed an outage management system to manage electric outages. The system has performed well over the years, however, needs an upgrade to allow staff to more efficiently manage outages, to better integrate with newer technologies, and to provide better internal and external customer support. The current system has become antiquated and is using multiple vendors to provide critical needs, which has become problematic, making the system less reliable. Lastly, the current system does not provide a solution for the water utility. On March 1st, a request for proposals was released for an OMS. Some criteria were that the manufacturer could provide an in-house solution for both electric and water, as well as an interactive voice recording system, two-way texting capability for both internal and external customers. Thought here being that our customers would need to opt in to receive these type of notifications, integrate with the current AMI and SCADA system, self-dispatching of crews, which is very critical, a full suite of viewers from the top of the organization down, which is something we don't have now, which means that from the chairman, the mayor down, they can see a lot more information they can now, and certainly a web-based outage map and outage reporting for both water and electric. On April 2nd, staff received 6 responses to the RFP. After compiling, evaluation, and interviews, staff chose Data Voice International, Inc. as they met all the requirements of the electric and water utilities. If approved, the timeline for implementation is approximately 3 to 4 months, so rather quickly.
Wow.
I have a motion here. I will pause to answer any questions. We're very excited about this
Trustees,
project.
questions?
I just want to comment that I am delighted that electric and water are working together on this project. There's a big deficiency on the water side. Electric is certainly dated, but there's a huge deficiency on the water side, and I'm happy to see we'll be upgrading everything. So,
absolutely, and that's a great kudos to the CMO's office for breaking down silos and sharing information. So
yeah, we had a joint meeting shortly after some of the. Well, it's during a lot of the water breaks we were experiencing late last year, and so James and his team and Lauren have been working together on this project. And, electric is different than water, right? We can detect an electric outage within seconds at a meter. Water meters sometimes take a little more investigation, but this is going to be a really great service and really improve the notifications for areas that are experiencing water outage.
Yeah, absolutely. Via text, email, IVR, reaching out, and it gives us a better way to communicate with our customer mid-outage before, as it's going. And then if we have a planned outage, hey, your water's going to be out this time, or expect low water pressure here, or electric's the same way. So, yeah, very excited.
It is great. I mean, it really is. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that people see, right? I mean, it's not, we're going to talk about replacing some equipment and the back end stuff that nobody really cares about until the lights go out. But this is stuff that people really, they're going to be interacting with this. And I think it's a testament to the quality and the strength of the electric utility and the water utility that we're able to go out and say, hey, we're gonna go make these things state of the art. So
I agree.
Absolutely. Always look at how we can be better for our customers, or do better for our customers.
Do we have a sense of, so our last system we had has lasted 13 years, and I understand certainly that those things do get antiquated. Do we have any idea what the longevity of the solution is that we've chosen to replace it?
That's a great question. We anticipate many years in the future. I don't think we ask. This system is the same system that Edmond uses. They've been around for quite some time. And not only do they do water, gas, any utility, they are in the business to provide OMS systems for. So they're a very reputable business and plan to be around for a long time.
So part of their business plan is to deal with upgrades of technology, of requirements. I mean, they're constantly developing and modernizing this tool.
Absolutely, and the beauty of this system is that we will receive 24-hour customer support. A lot of times in the middle of the night when we have a big outage and all of a sudden we have issues and we're dealing with it internally, these folks will be able to get right in and figure out what's going on in real time during the event.
Great.
So the amount that you have in the motion, the $405,000, do I understand correctly that's broken down as the first year implementation cost plus an annual fee of about $98K, something like that?
You bet. Yeah, there'll be a reoccurring fee for updates.
Do we have any sense, I know I saw in the agreement that it said that the annual renewal cost can be increased at any point. Do we have a sense of how the trend of what they've increased by over the past several years?
I don't, unfortunately, no.
Further questions? I don't know that we need another restatement of the staff recommendation, but you can give it.
Okay, motion to approve the OMS upgrade project, authorize the general manager to execute applicable documents related to the contract with Data Voice International, Inc. in the amount of $405,315.50, authorize expenditures from the Electric Rate Stabilization Fund up to $228,004, and authorize expenditures from the Capital Water Fund up to $217,844, and that includes a contingency on both water and electric.
Trustees?
I move approval of staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the recommendation. Please vote. The vote of 4-0, that item is approved. That takes us to item 5B. We'll consider approval of the GRDA Stillwater 69 substation to Jardo transmission replacement project. Lauren?
Yes, good evening again, trustees. Let me pull something up here. Full screen mode. Okay. The Stillwater Electric Utility operates a 69,000 volt transmission loop that supplies energy to 5 electrical substations. The loop infrastructure consists of poles, insulators, and conductors that are strategically routed to connect all 5 substations to our 3 138 kV sources that I'm circling here with my pointer. Staff has identified the loop that supplies energy from the GRDA Stillwater 69 substation to the Ferguson substation as the section in the highest need of replacement. This will be a 2-phase project, beginning with the line section from the sub here to Ferguson, with a total estimated cost of about $6.75 million. Staff followed the request for proposals process for engineering services and chose half Associated LAC as they met all the requirements for the project. Staff is currently seeking project approval and funding for engineering services. Bids will be released for the procurement of materials and construction later. I have a motion here, but I will pause to answer any questions that you may have.
Trustees? So $800,000 or so for the engineering to do a 6.9, is that what you said, $7.9 million project?
Yep.
Okay. And all of that, the cost of the project will come out of the same.
Yeah,
rate
so the
stabilization
6.75 million includes engineering. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I got you.
it's inclusive of that cost.
All comes out of capital fund.
That estimate, I should say.
I mean, just out of curiosity, how do you, I mean, are these lines replaced on a year, like some set of years that we feel like they need to be replaced? Is there some specific condition that you find them to be in that they need to be replaced, or how's that work?
Yeah, so we recently started up our pole testing program again after many years of not due to many factors. So we started identifying some of these poles and these pole lines that were in distress. And so as we started having more and more issues with this transmission line, we actually did used Rob Hill to do a drone flyover to actually see what the line looks like. And if you can see some pictures, you can see we realized that these poles were installed about 60 years ago.
60?
And so, yeah, 60 years ago. And so some of them are in pretty bad shape. This is a line that is very remote located and it's hard to get to. We can't just drive down Jardo and see it. It's in a very tight easement that runs through a lot of rural area. And so, here's a perfect example of
That looks like a cedar tree.
we've gotten all the good out of the pole, let's say, or what's the right phrase? It's fully depreciated. Yeah, I remember that. But yeah, so a culmination of things: pole testing, and knowing that we've had some incidences out here that we've had to replace a few, and then actually getting in and seeing what it is. So, yeah.
I'm glad you had those pictures. That makes it a lot clearer that this needs to happen.
It's fully depreciated and largely deteriorated.
Yeah, exactly. And so again, these are arteries to our system. So we've identified these and others that need to be replaced in the future, and just builds it hardens our system to ensure that we can maintain reliability.
Yeah, great. Well, that's again, it's great that we even have the option of doing this stuff before those things all break in half.
Absolutely.
And we have to do it, under the gun. So great that we're being proactive about it. What's your recommendation for us?
Motion to approve the GRDA Stillwater 69 substation to Jardo transmission replacement project. Authorize the general manager to execute a contract with AF Associates LLC in the amount of $704,442.34, and authorize expenditures from the Electric Rate Stabilization Fund up to $810,109, and that includes a contingency.
Trustees?
Motion to accept staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the recommendation. Please vote. That's approved with a vote of 4-0.
Thank you
Lauren.
all very much.
Item 6 is Resolution SUA 2025-7, a resolution adopting a revised rate structure for solid waste collection services, providing for subsequent rate increases, and providing effective dates. This is the sister resolution to what we talked about at council. Will be action on the resolution.
I move adoption of resolution SUA 2025-7.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Resolution is adopted with a vote of 4-0. Any reports? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn the SUA. Please vote. With a vote of 4-0, the Stillwater Utilities Authority is now adjourned. This time I will call to order the Stillwater Economic Development Authority meeting for September 8th, 2025. Trustees, action on the consent docket.
I move approval of consent.
Second.
With a motion and a second to approve consent, please vote. Consent docket's approved with a vote of 4-0. Item 5A, Resolution SEDA-2025-4. Resolution consenting to the sale of 229 South Knobloch Street to the Bank of Oklahoma and authorizing execution and release of covenant agreement and related documents.
So SEDA previously entered into a redevelopment agreement with the redeveloper for property located at 229 South Knobloch for TIF assistance and development financing. In connection with that, there was a note and a covenant agreement executed to secure repayment of the public assistance. SEDA has received notice from the redeveloper that he wishes to sell the property to Bank of Oklahoma for a bank branch. The use of a bank branch is inconsistent with the retail operation that was contemplated under the prior agreements. So prior approval of the sale by SEDA is required before the property can be sold. Approval of this resolution would provide consent to sell the property to Bank of Oklahoma, conditioned upon full repayment to SEDA of any outstanding balances due under the note or covenant agreement prior to closing. It approves release of the covenant agreement and authorizes execution of closing documents and other actions necessary to effectuate the sale and discharge the redeveloper obligations under the redevelopment agreement, note, and covenant agreement, and provides a reservation of rights for SEDA. If you have any additional questions, do my best to answer with others present.
I'll just comment, this was TIF money.
Yes.
Yeah. For the
Marble slab.
Marble slab and the
Right,
cookie
yeah,
company,
yeah.
yes.
And it's my understanding that we plan to receive full repayment prior to
Yeah.
closing, and the amount is estimated at about $125,000. And so long as that condition is met, we can execute the additional documents needed to approve the transfer.
This means we get our money back faster.
Yes.
All right. Trustees, questions, comments, or action on the resolution?
I move adoption of resolution SEDA 2025-4.
Second.
Motion and a second to adopt the resolution. Please vote. With a vote of 4-0, that resolution is adopted. Any reports from the officers of the board? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
With a motion and a second to adjourn SEDA, please vote. With a vote of 4-0, the Stillwater Economic Development Authority is now adjourned, and that concludes our meetings for this evening.